What is up, Retromaniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. I am what they call a host. My name is Mike from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and I'm joined today by the second and third place finisher in the 2004 Mr. Universe competition, though I am legally not allowed to tell you which one finished where. Mr. Joe Day and Eric Pahalik, how you doing, boys?
All of that was horrendous. I love it. I love it all. I'm doing great, Mike. I'll tell you this. Big news, big hobby news, bigger news than anything we'll talk about. We've hit 200 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh,
how crazy
wow.
is that? It is so crazy. I'm passing up the beer for a little champagne today. I'm popping open the champagne.
Well, yes, definitely a champagne occasion.
It's a champagne occasion.
There we go.
Let's get it,
well,
boys.
cheers to that. I would have never guessed 10 people wanted to listen to us.
Why would they want to listen to us?
I don't
get
know,
it,
but hey,
I'll drink to it. That's for sure.
How's it going, EP?
Great. I've been trying to quench my thirst all weekend. I've tried beer. I've tried sparkling water. I've tried soda. I've tried everything under the sun. I cracked open one of these rock stars today, a little caffeinated water. Man, I feel great.
Wow, that is definitely what you need is more caffeine.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Are they a sponsor? What just happened here?
They should.
I don't know. Somebody should be. Yes. Well,
they can send the pallet to me. Send a pallet to me, and we'll be good. We'll be good.
But you drink it all in a day, so it wouldn't last very long. All right. Well, we're going to start the episode off today with a little bit of hobby news. Of course, this was the week, the big Prizm football drop. $1,350 on the Panini website, and I think it was still out there as of yesterday morning. I checked today and it had finally sold out, but yeah, that's a lot of money for a box of football cards. What do you think?
Not just a box of football cards. That might be a box of football cards with the most boring design I've seen. It is not exciting in any way to me.
Yeah.
How has Prizm gotten worse since 1998? I don't know. It's just worse and worse every year. It's literally the same design as the last 2 years. And the hits, I watched a couple of breaks. Holy shit. I hate to swear on the pod, but my God, that is some horrendous stuff coming out of these. It's very overproduced. Brutal. The quality assurance is horrendous. And the biggest takeaway I got from that, did you guys see the $100,000 Mac Jones 101 black Prizm, whatever it's called? And then apparently the person who bought it for 100 just resold it for 175 is the rumor.
Really?
I don't know how true that is, but I had seen that on hobby Twitter, and I just can't believe that a card like that is worth 2 times as much as a Tom Brady playoff contenders rookie auto and like a PSA 8. Give me a break. It's terrible.
How many 101s are probably in that? How many Mac Jones 101s are in that product, do you think?
Yeah, true. With all the parallels they have to have multiples, right? Yeah.
Parallels, snake skins, animal skins.
Yeah, wait till the retail comes out. They'll have more too. So,
oh, geez. Dragon
crazy.
Skins. It's crazy.
There's no money to be made at $1,300 a box. I mean, are we finally getting to that point where people are going to wake up and say, you know what? No.
We are not. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen when Optic comes out. It's going to happen when Select comes out. It's going to happen next year when Prizm comes out. It's just it's a cycle. People, this selective amnesia when new products come out is just what the hobby's known for at this point.
Just crazy. I don't know. I mean, I have no interest in buying a box, and I bought the draft picks when it came out, 11 months ago. Like, really, honestly, that was one of the first videos we did on the channel. Yeah. It was awful, by the way. And that was awful. like a year ago almost, and now that's like, I just have no interest in. If people have not noticed now through the WWE release and the NFL Prizm release, that Panini is going to just make as much money as they possibly can before they lose the license. Like, I don't know how you can argue that point. They are just going to print whatever they have to. They'll sell as much as they can. They don't care about limiting anything. And, anybody who thinks that this stuff from this time period is going to be anything like it was a couple of years ago, I think you're smoking something.
Have you
And
guys watched any?
You go ahead, EP.
I was going to say, have you guys watched any breaks? I know one of the issues with Prizm last year and even Optic was a lot of print lines and stuff, like a lot of quality control stuff. Have you guys watched any breaks and seen anything about it? Is it the same?
Yeah,
or
it's been bad. The thing I've noticed is the off centering has been really, really. It looks like 90 mu out there.
Yeah,
it's really, really bad. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention we're talking about 2021 Prizm.
Yeah.
In June of 2022, 2 months after the NFL draft, and no one can tell me, oh, it's a supply chain issue. I feel so bad for Panini. It's supply chain. It's COVID. It's because of this and that. They did this in 2019. 2019 came out in like May or June of the following year. So this isn't a COVID supply chain thing. It's just Panini knows they can put out crap products for months and months and months, and then when they get to their tentpole products, people still buy them. So why not take the 6 to 8 months and put out crap and then put out the good stuff later? That's what they're doing. It's nothing to do with supply chain or the pandemic or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a rough sell. Other hobby news, I wanted to talk a little bit, since we've talked a little bit about CSG on here, and people know I've had some reveal videos on the channel, and I've been
very popular
of theirs. Very
videos.
Popular. Yes, very. And they announced a price increase coming out in July. Their bulk rate's going from 12 to 15. The economy rate's going from 20 to 25, and the standard is going from 30 to 35. And I support CSG, but boy, that $3 difference on the bulk from 12 to 15, like I think it's a bad idea. Like, PSA is getting closer to opening their value. We've talked about that before in the podcast. And if they come in at 25, who's going to send a card to CSG for 15 when they could send it to PSA for 25? I know it's only $3, but like, if you're deciding between 12 and 20 or 12 and 25, 15 and 20 or 15 and 25 just seems like it's like $10 more, even though it's $3. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Do you think their CEO is watching our videos? Like they're drinking our Kool-Aid. Like, we've been talking them up, right? So
they might be. They're like, oh wow, we're popular now. They talked about it. So
how many cards you have to send in for it to be a bulk order, Mike?
50.
50. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's only $3, but it's $150 minimum, right? So I mean, so the first thought I had is maybe they're trying to slow down their submissions at this point. Maybe they got overwhelmed with either the new label or people sending stuff in to get reslabbed because of the new label, or maybe with the eBay authentication lowering the price. They just don't have the manpower, or at this point.
I don't think so, though. Like,
all of these
my orders, I got back very quickly.
Yeah. So I say all that to then talk out the other side of my mouth and say, but they're giving it until July, which sounds like they're trying to ramp up submissions, because they're like, oh, you've got about a month before we ramp up submissions, so get them in now. So I don't know. It's a weird look. It's a weird look, because I could argue both sides of it. I don't know if they're trying to slow submissions down or get a huge surge before July and raise their market share. I really don't know what it could be.
I would guess that more so. What do you think, EP?
I think the label got markedly better with their redesign, and I think a price increase was probably in the works as soon as they were like, well, people are gonna like this a lot better. I think they probably knew that themselves when they saw it. So, but I think it's a little bit early. Like, I would have probably waited until PSA drops whatever they're gonna drop. Yeah. Like I said, I think it's gonna be by August is when they're gonna do it. I think that was the big thing, to kind of wait until then, eat it until then. Like, again, it really only affects people at the bulk level. They're still decently priced compared to the competition, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, but
by the way,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, since EP brought up PSA, I just need to make mention, if they lower prices before my cards come back, I'm going to lose my shit. And we are now on day 398 of our long national nightmare of Joe Day not getting his cards back. So
that's rough.
Just our friend Rob Ingalls got his, or is getting his cards back, and he sent his 2 weeks ahead of mine. So I'm kind of, or they were checked in 2 weeks ahead of mine. So I'm kind of hoping that gives me some, hope, but who knows? Sorry, Mike.
Don't get too excited.
Where are yours in the process, like the grading process?
Grading. Okay. Since February.
Do you think they've already been sold? Do you think somebody's already got taken them away and they're all already sold?
Yeah, maybe.
They might be. Jesus. All right. Well, the real reason that we're getting together today is found out that we all just have access to a time machine. Who knew? Our time machines work a little bit differently. They only go back to the first year that we started collecting cards. Yes, we don't really have a time machine, obviously, but if we did, we're going to talk a little bit about what three sets of cards we would go back and buy in our time machine. So, I have a little bit of an advantage because I might be a little bit older than the other two guys here. So my time machine goes back a little bit farther, but gives me a little more options there.
Compare the beards, folks. Compare the beards.
Yeah, I have a little bit of gray, just a little bit. I don't know. Thinking about getting my edge back though, so maybe I'll make it jet black or something soon. I don't know. But yeah, so how about we'll give EP the floor to get this started today. Gonna hop in the time machine, go back, and where's the first place you're gonna land? 2011
to get a case of Topps Update Baseball.
Okay.
I actually debated between 2011 Bowman 2011 Bowman draft picks and prospects. They're both awesome sets, lots of cool color autographs, all that sort of stuff. But 2011 Topps Update was the one that I went with. Obviously, the big one there is the Trout rookie card, but there is just a ton of a ton of rookie cards in there, including a couple players who are probably going to be potential Hall of Famers. And then there's also a bunch of parallels with it, several different 1-on-1 chances, and just some really cool cards. Have you guys ever seen any 2011 Topps Update other than the Mike Trout card?
I mean, I've seen the Mike Trout card a million times. Joe and I aren't as big into baseball, but even, I'm sure Joe even knows what that card looks like. If he were walking into a card shop and looking in a dollar box and he saw that card, something would click and he'd know what it was. So it's an iconic
yeah, that's
card,
one of the most recognizable cards that I know from baseball for sure.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, with this project, I kind of wanted to. I'm definitely going to be opening anything that I get,
okay.
And so I mean, the whole point of it is to go back and get something that you want to open. And there's a ton of good rookie cards, rookie cards of players like DJ LeMahieu, Mike Moustakas, some really good players, and then there's other players that were good at the time that I would have some what's the word I'm searching for? I'd be excited to open them up, even though they're not exciting players. But anyhow, let's get to some brass tacks details here. Cases were 12 boxes, 36 packs each. The retail price of a pack was $1.99 at the time. Hobby boxes were going for about $50 to $60. So a guesstimate on a case, which I would have to spend my hard-earned money on, would be about $450 to $550. I couldn't find a price for a case from back then. The current cost, the last one that I could find sold was on Golden Auctions. This was not a hobby case. This was a 12 boxes, 24 packs. So it's 12 fewer packs than a hobby case. That sold for $85,000 and $85,200.
Wow.
Ridiculous, right? Like crazy ridiculous. But then those Trouts we just talked about. The Trout PSA 10, the most recent one, sold yesterday for $2,500. But there was a Cognac parallel that sold within the last few months for $10,002, and then a Walmart Blue parallel that sold for $11,400. This, it's just insane. That's just one card, but it's insane.
What you might have mentioned this. Sorry if you did, EP. How many Trouts would you get in a box?
You know what? I don't have that here, but I'm guessing there would be a chance at 2. Like because I mean, you're looking at a 36 pack box. I think I want to say the packs were like 10 cards per pack or 8 cards per pack, something like that. So like your chances of getting 2 is probably pretty good, I'm guessing. I would say probably you could get at least 3 in 2 boxes. I would say something like that. It's probably would be a good guess. So if you're going to open up a whole case, there's a chance you get a handful of those. Hopefully 1 or 2 a PSA 10, maybe a parallel or something like that. I would hope.
Let me interject here because
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of talk about this on Twitter since you bring up that set. What is your opinion? Is that card overvalued for how many of them that are out there?
I mean, cards are worth whatever. I don't know what the print run was on 2011, but I'm guessing it was quite a bit less than anything in 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Like it's got to be way less than that, I would guess. And especially like some of the parallels, like the like there's a black number to 60, the gold's number to 2011. Of course, the 101s. There's a Hope Diamond parallel also that's numbered to 60. Like there's like I really feel like the parallels, especially for that set, are definitely not. But they're worth the 5 figures that they're probably going for. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Compared to some of this other stuff that we're seeing, like the downtowns and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
some of those, like
Crazy,
like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably way more of those.
Okay, well, that's a great choice and not necessarily a surprise coming from you.
Let me just throw just a couple more tidbits in here from this set because it's crazy. Some of the things that kind of pushed it over the top for me is like the inserts that were in it.
Mhm.
There's like these top 60 autographs with like Sandy Koufax and Hank Aaron.
Oh, wow.
And Freddie Freeman and Aroldis Chapman. Then also the top 60th anniversary autographs with Bob Gibson, Bryce Harper, which he didn't have a regular Topps card until 2012.
Mhm.
So to get a Bryce Harper
Oh,
Topps
wow.
card, Reggie Jackson finest exchange autograph card, and then some oddball ones like Keith Olbermann and Peter Gammons and
Oh, wow.
Cyberger and Ryan O'Hara, who were like Topps executives at the time. There's
Mhm.
some really, really cool stuff in that set on top of these rookies, obviously the Trout.
Very cool. All right, Joe, you're hopping in the time machine, firing that baby up.
I don't know how EP did his, if he did his, top one first or whatever, but I'm going to go with my bottom one first. And that's, I don't think it surprised anyone. 1990, I'm hopping into the time machine, going back to 9-10-year-old Joe Day, and I'm buying a case of 1990 Marvel Universe. Okay.
Not a surprise.
We're kind of not a surprise. I mean, we're all kind of too in the assumption that we can tell our younger selves, okay, wait to either sell this or rip it or whatever at the perfect time. You'll know what the perfect time is. And I'm buying that the box of 90MU. Go and watch me rip a box of it actually on the channel. And this might be the surprise. I'm keeping it in the case. I'm not even opening up the case. I'm not even opening up the case. So if you go through, as much fun as it is, and I'm assuming this is a zero-sum game, right? I can't open up a couple of boxes and keep 10 of them or whatever, all or nothing. The thing with Marvel MU, and when they came out, Mike, you would know better than I was 10 years old. I assumed they were around $40, maybe even cheaper a box. I mean, probably. You're talking $1 a pack at that point. Mm-hmm. So, you could get a case for less than $500, maybe $400. Mm-hmm. And at the height of the pandemic, those boxes were going for $3,000 a box, right? Wow. So you're talking a, $400 investment back in 90, throw it into, I'd tell younger self, throw it into your grandparents' closet, not yours, because there might be something that happens in 1998 that you might lose some of this stuff. But pesky little house fire for those of you
pesky little fire.
Pesky little fire. But so, let it sit there in the case and sell it right at the pandemic at $3,000 a box, or throw it to Golden, have them sell it as a complete case, because those usually go, an unsealed case would go for much more. And the reason I'm doing that is just simple. The quality control of that product was almost as bad as Prizm this year. Mm-hmm. And the off-centering, the print lines, all the stuff that was going on in 98, you'd think they'd improved since then. But the odds of you ripping open 12 boxes, I ripped open 3, and the amount of cards of the main characters that I felt were worth sending in to get PSA 10s potentially were really low. And the problem you have is the value of PSA 9s are just not there.
Yeah.
So it's an all or nothing thing with these cards. So if you rip it open, you could rip open 12 boxes and potentially get, just a handful of PSA 10s out of it. I see rips online all the time, and people submitting cards and getting back pack fresh cards, getting back 6s. And you look at the video and you're like, how is that a 6? It's perfectly centered. There must be something, but really, I mean, so the risk versus a reward for me is just not there to rip that product open, as much fun as it would be. But yeah, for $36,000 to $40,000 for a case, I think I'll just let that one sit.
It's a good idea.
But what are the odds you can convince 10-year-old Joe Day to not open it? Like, what are the odds? What percentage? What percentage?
Yeah,
what are we talking about here?
Rough.
You're gonna have to throw him a couple $100 or something, right? Like,
I was just gonna say, I'll buy him an extra box. Here's an extra box for fun. Put it in your binder, your 3-ring binder. But keep this sealed. Forget about it. Just pretend it's not even there.
Very good and not surprising at all. So old man Mike is going to hop into his time machine. And for the record, I could go back to 1974. Yes, I'm old, but
that's it?
Thought
you were going to get some honus.
I'm
smoke
not
some cigarettes,
quite
get a
that
honus.
old. No, not quite that old. Thank you. But I'm just going to fire up mine and go back to 1979, and I'm going to tell myself to buy myself a case of that o-pee-chee hockey, which for a little kid growing up in rural Pennsylvania would be a little odd. But yeah, I'll take my 2022 self's word for it, and I will buy those. I will not be ripping any of it because so far the pop report for PSA 10, anybody want to guess how many o-pee-chee Wayne Gretzky PSA 10s there are?
Is it 0?
I feel like the number is probably 2% of the pop report. I don't know exactly the number.
There are 2.
Oh, hey, I was right, but not really.
No, not the number, not the percentage, but there are 2. And I forget how many were graded, but you're not gonna, even if I opened them up back then, they're not going to be a 10. And when I get these other numbers in here for you, you'll understand why I might want to keep it sealed. First of all, I don't know what they cost for a case, but they were 20 cents a pack. And there were 48 packs in a box. So, like it's almost nothing. I'm guessing there were probably 20 boxes to a case back then. And I found a couple numbers. In 2018, there was a BBCE sealed box that sold in auction for $40,000 for the box. In 2022, in February of this year, there was a box that was sealed that sold on the Heritage auctions for $210,000 for the box. Wow. with the seller's premium they have to pay through the auction site. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not even going to try to do the math, but I think it might be a good idea to keep it sealed.
So what's the last sale for a 10? What have you seen a recent sale for a PSA 10?
I know I saw something. There was one that sold. I can't say when, but when I was looking this stuff up, I forgot to write it down. But I think it sold for over $2 million.
So the reason I ask is, so let's assume you go back, you buy a case of it, right? You tell your younger self, buy a case of this stuff. There are what now 20 years between the time that would have been opened by a normal person without a time machine, right? Mm-hmm. 20 years between the time it was open to the time that PSA started actually grading cards, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you opened it in, 20 years later, kept it sealed, right? In this time machine scenario, kept it sealed and opened it in 1999 or 2000 when PSA first started taking cards, what are the odds that the PSA 10s would actually be higher? There were 20 years for people to trade these cards and put them in bicycles and throw them in boxes. or was it a quality control issue, do you think, with o-pee-chee
Yeah.
at the time?
You think that the
Okay.
1990 Marvel was bad? You're talking about 70s and 80s, even o-pee-chee products. Forget about it. The centering was terrible. Most of them had what it's known as the o-pee-chee edge. It looks like a saw blade. They're not
Oh,
a
wow.
smooth edge. They're just chewed up. So, and that's the way they were printed. I even have wrestling cards from the mid 80s that are horrible. The centering and the edges in particular are just, you could open multiple cases and probably not even come close to having a card that you feel would be a 10.
Wasn't o-pee-chee like the Canadian version of Topps? Isn't that
Yeah.
kind of what it was? So
Yep,
what are Canadians doing with their cards up there? And you'd have to convince your parents to drive you to Canada to get a case, probably.
Yeah, I think
Don
they're
would
probably
have.
drinking
Don would
drinking a little bit of Molson or something at the factory.
Yeah,
they're all about having some fun north of the border up there. So yeah, can't blame them.
You have a Topps
They're
one
happy
in your
cards, yeah.
PC. You
Yes,
have a
I
Topps
do.
one in your PC. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Actual, 10-year-old me back in 1979, I used to go to the corner store and I would buy any kind of cards there were. I actually played with them. I had a game, I played with them on the floor. But I remember when I was in my late teens, I saw a picture of a Wayne Gretzky rookie card and I was like, wait a minute, that looks familiar. I knew the look of the card and I went back, I found my old cards and there it was. So it's pretty cool. Nice to have it. Not obviously, it's only a great. I sent it to SGC and it was a 4, but that's a card I'll keep.
Which they're tough on vintage, man. So you send that to PSA, it might be a 5.
It's a rough card. So
during your days at the shop, did you ever come across an o-pee-chee Gretzky? Did anyone ever ever come across? No,
actually, my dad and I started the shop. We opened a box of Topps hockey. I forget, we spent $10K or something and bought a bunch of boxes and opened it up to have inventory for the shop, which was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life and one of my greatest memories. But yeah, we did open a box of Topps and I think we got 2 Gretzky rookies out of that. So
wow, cool.
Wish I still had those, but they were sold somewhere along the line. All right, well, let's get this moving on. EP, hopping in your time machine there, pushing in some buttons, and you're going to hear all the funny sounds, and you're going to end up where?
1989, the wonderful year of 1989, in the heart of the junk wax era.
Topps baseball, right?
No,
just
score football. 1989 score football, man. I think I have 2 cards from that set. I have a Joe Montana. I think I have a Lawrence Taylor. So to get Barry Sanders is my favorite offensive player, probably my favorite NFL player of all time. So to get a Barry Sanders rookie card out of that, to pull one would be great. But the boxes right now, current cost is $2,500 for a BBCE wrapped one.
Holy cow.
There's David Adams Card World has one for $1,400, but that's not BBCE wrapped. So you're not sure if you're search. You're not. You can't be sure.
To be fair, it could be GI Joe cards in that BBC wrapped one anyway. So.
That is true. That is true. That is true. But I'm guessing that's
brutal,
unlikely.
but honest.
Yes.
Unlikely, very unlikely.
Yeah. In 2012, a case cost $3,750. I'm not sure. I couldn't find any sort of case prices for 1989, but I bought enough 1990 Donruss and Topps to believe that's was probably around $300-$400 per case. I would guess.
89. Score wasn't a premium product either, so that probably would have been a $30-$40 a box at the most.
Right. So a 12 box case would probably be about $400 roughly, something around there. So you get 15 cards per pack, 36 packs, and of course it's got just loaded with it's of course loaded with all the Hall of Famers that we remember from when we were watching with the Joe Montanas, all that stuff. But the rookie cards are out of this world, in my opinion.
Crazy,
Barry Sanders, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Chris Carter, Tim Brown, Deion Sanders. The one list I saw just stopped there. I was like, what about Derek Thomas and Rod Woodson and Thurman Thomas and Steve Atwater? Literally, I'm just getting
Barry
chills
Foster have a rookie in there too?
I thought Barry Foster was
90. No,
90.
his 90.
I think he was 90.
Was he 90?
But,
he was 90.
Yeah. Just that list. I think it's probably way better to go and buy the PSA 10s of all those rookie cards than to actually buy a box right now. But if I'm going back in time, I'm gonna get a case. I might open up a box or two and then sell a few boxes just to make up my cost, right?
Yeah. Great set. I mean, just iconic. I'm actually in the process of kind of half-heartedly putting that set together myself right now. I got a bunch of commons and I bought some of the rookies, at the local card shop and stuff. So at some point I'll get them together. But yeah, it's just a set. I feel like if you're a retro card collector like we are, if you like football, you have to have that set. It's just like,
I think I have
there
a
is
Deion
no
Sanders.
other set that has it. Yeah, Dion.
Yeah,
I have
the
actually
Deion.
I have a Dion sitting on my desk every time I'm at the computer working. He's like sitting right there looking at me.
Just helping you out. Just helping
yeah,
you out.
like, dude, come on, get my friends.
Urging you on.
So, yeah, I don't have Barry Sanders yet, but I'm gonna definitely pick one of those up. So
And
That's
all
like
the
the Grail
rookies
Barry
were
Sanders
just
card.
like mug shots, right? All the rookies were just
Yeah.
mug shots in that set,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Irvin and Chris Carter might not have been, but most of them were just
And I
mug
think
shots,
Rod
yeah.
Woodson wasn't either. Yeah.
Oh, you're
Well,
right. Rod wasn't.
Was that was the first year that they went to draft pick rookie cards, right? Wasn't it 89?
It might have been, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
like the Aikman and all the guys that were drafted in 89, they have the headshots, and then like Chris Carter and Rod Woodson, who played in 88, their
Okay, that
rookie
makes sense.
cards.
Yeah, I was
have
going to say, I
action
thought
shots.
Rod's rookie year was 87 or 88. So they must have
Yeah.
done the thing that they did back in 84,
Mhm.
where, 83's draft class rookies were in 84. They
Yeah.
were still doing that.
Yeah,
right?
it was that way for forever, pretty much, with
Yeah.
football cards. Like
Right.
Jerry Rice was 86, but he actually played in 85, so
Right.
usually came out a year after. Yeah, another great choice. So I guess we'll move on to your number 2, Joe.
So my number 2 is another Marvel product. I figured you guys would be more sports, so I wanted to bring in a little non-sports with mine. And it's actually the 2015 Marvel Retro. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know, 2013 is the first year of Marvel Retro. That's the first year of Marvel PMGs, Precious Metal Gems, which for guys like us are very cool cards because they're retro. I mean, if you think about it, they came out in the late 90s in basketball and football, the PMGs in those sets. So it's kind of something that was very cool that they started bringing those sports card inserts into because Fleer and Upper Deck couldn't do that because they didn't have any football and basketball licenses at the time. So they pulled them into Marvel. The reason I picked 2015, which is the second year and also has PMGs, is because I actually had some firsthand knowledge of the cost and kind of what you would get per case from a guy who I actually got one of the insert cards from as just a random act of kindness. That Doctor Strange card I sent to SGC. He actually sold his house. I guess he and his wife were buying a new house, and they sold their current house in 2015 at a profit. So as a gift to himself, he bought a case of 2015 Marvel Retro, and I'm like, "Wow,
brilliant!
Yeah, it's
brilliant!
an awesome idea." And he was telling me at the time. So the original cost estimate was $200 a box. Now, each box has 2 mini boxes. So, people generally would buy mini boxes if they went to like their local card shop, and they would be a little over $100 for a mini box. $200 a box, about $1,200 for a case is what he paid. The current value estimate for a case, this was Golden Auctions in April of this year, was $51,600. So if he would have held that case for about 6 years,
wow.
And that's actually, I will say that's the low end. The PMGs, the big boom in the PMGs and the sealed stuff of the 2013 and 2015 was actually in February, but that's the last auction I could find from Golden was the one in April for 51,000. So just imagine how much it was during the big boom.
Yeah.
In a case, you're getting, I watched a bunch of case breaks for homework. You're getting 4 red PMGs, which are numbered to 100. You're getting 4 blue PMGs, which are numbered to 50. And then you potentially could get a green PMG, which is numbered to 10. The case, 2 case breaks I watched, it was 4, 4, and 1. So you were getting 11 PMGs. And I'm actually not going to let it sit. I'm going to rip it. I'm ripping this bad boy open. And the reason for that is there's a lot of just value in this beyond even the PMGs, but I'd be ripping the case. I'd be sending the PMGs depending on how they look to either PSA or BGS. If there's like an edge issue or a corner issue, most of the PMGs you see on Golden, they go to BGS because they're a little bit easier of a grade. Because if you have a bad edge, which the quality control of the PMGs were not great, if you have a bad edge and you send it, even if the edge is a 7.5, you could still get an 8. If you send it to PSA, it might drag the whole grade down, right? So I would send those out to be graded. And then you have these short print insert sets, the ones that look like the 1990 Marvel Universe cards, the ones that look like the X-Men Series 1 cards from 92. You have the Metal Universe ones. You've got flare inserts. You send those off. You could send those off to be graded. And like a Thanos PSA 10 went for $1,000 last month as an insert. Now, there aren't a ton of sales of the inserts because I don't know if people have sent them in or if they're in and they're kind of in the purgatory that mine are in right now. But beyond that, there's Star Studded, which is a sports card insert from back in 2000. I have a Peyton Manning Star Studded die cut. There's the Jambalayas, if you remember those. I forget if that was a Fleer or an Upper Deck insert back in the day. But they have all these different inserts. They have sketch cards, which you got one per mini box. So you're getting 12 sketch cards, one-on-one sketch cards. You can get printing plates. There's just value after value after value of these. There's risk because you're passing up on $50,000 to $60,000 for the sealed case. But you hit a Spider-Man and you send it off to BGS, get a 9. That's $100,000. I mean, at the time, again, selling it at the perfect moment, right? Or the Doctor Strange. We talked about this during our card correction podcast. The Doctor Strange went for like $55,000 to $60,000 in a PS or a BGS 8.5. So there's just so much value. I think the risk in this case is worth the reward of ripping it.
We're all Marvel fans here, right? Like the bottom line is, how much fun is it going to be to rip that thing open? Like you're going to have such a blast, like ridiculous memory. Like that's so good. And that's kind of the point of this podcast, right? This episode.
Yeah.
And I think
gonna have some
the
fun in
difference
our time
too,
machine.
Oh, for sure. I think the difference here too is that the 90 MU would get repetitive, right? After a couple boxes, like I said, I ripped 3 of them. The third one started to get a little repetitive. This, it's just different stuff. There were so many inserts, so many short prints, so many case hits, the 101 sketch cards. There's just so much different stuff that you're never going to open up the 5th box and say, oh man, this is just like the first box. It's not. It's all going to be different stuff, and it's all going to be stuff that can have value. Selling a piece, even the base set, sell the base set for a couple bucks. There's just money to be had at every level of this set.
Very good. All right. Well, I'm going to throw you for a loop a little bit on my second little trip back in my time machine here. I'm going to go back to
case of Red Zone.
No, that would be great. I mean, if we're talking about fun, I would definitely do that. But I am traveling back to 1996. And yes, Kobe Bryant's rookie year. And yes, Topps Chrome from that year is worth a fortune, but that's not what I'm buying. I am buying the Fleer EX 2000 basketball. If people don't remember exactly what set that was the set that had the colored borders and like the window background with the player cut out on it. Just like such an iconic set. Like if you're talking about 1990s sports cards, you're that is it right there. You only got 2 cards in a pack and 24 packs per box. I couldn't find what they cost, but if I'm remembering correctly, I want to say they were like $5 a pack. So they were probably around $100, $110 a box, somewhere in that range back then for 2 cards, which, at that point in time, that was a lot of money still for that. And those boxes now sell for $8,000 for a sealed box. So kind of crazy considering you only get 48 cards in it. But even though it's valuable, I think I would want to rip it because I mean, they're just so cool. And they're a very condition sensitive card. Like those with
Mm.
the windows on them and the borders on them, just the way the cards were made, they're very easily damaged. They, you know, some cloudiness and stuff to the background, like of the window over time. So you don't see very many of them in high grades. I think it would be a lot of fun. People today wouldn't be able to handle the fact that there was exactly one parallel set put in it at the time. It was called the Credentials, and there were 499 of each of them. They had two different inserts. They had the cut above, which I know you know that one, EP, and they have the net assets, which was like, they were both really cool die cut inserts. Yep. Also very condition sensitive because they were die cut. They're very hard to get in high grade. And actually that year, it wasn't only in that product, but the autographics set with the autographs in it, that was the first year that Fleer put that in. They had it across all of their products for the year, but like they had first year autographics in them. So that's, a set that's still really popular today. Of course, it had the Kobe Bryant rookie, the Allen Iverson rookie, the Ray Allen rookie, it had Jordan cards. So you had a lot of stuff you could hit. If you hit some of those, insert cards or the parallel, I forgot to write it down because I did look up the price. I believe the Kobe, I can't remember now. The Credentials, though, I believe there was a PSA 8 that was the highest that somebody sold recently, and I think it was like $20,000. And just the regular card and a PSA 10 was like $8,000. So I'm gonna rip it up and see what I get.
I'm guessing, considering the price and the quality and stuff, you probably didn't open a ton of that yourself when you had it in the shop.
No, I didn't.
So, like, to be able to open a whole box or a whole case of that is probably going to be a ton of fun. And like, you think about 48 cards and the number of rookies that were in there that weren't Iverson or Kobe or whatever. Yeah. Like, your chances of getting a Kobe or an Iverson out of a box, like, what do you think chances are? Like, you probably have to open 3 boxes to get one, maybe.
Probably. If you had to get a set, I think there were only like 80 some cards, but you would need like 2 almost perfectly collated boxes to get a set. So you're talking 2 to 3 boxes for a Kobe, maybe 2, just a little over 2. But and like all the stuff I've gone through, I've found a couple of the cards from that set. So like, I keep wanting to find more and they're just not there. I must have never opened any, but that'd be a blast to open. I think they're like, I would put that card up against anything that's put out today and say, take these to people that might be interested in buying cards and ask them which one they like better. And I don't know. I think this would win. I think it's just cooler than Prizm.
I bet when you would rip it too, knowing that, we're in the time machine, right? You would sleeve and top load. I think those got scratched up because people ripped them and just stacked them or whatever. And I think that might have caused the grades to be a little bit lower. But to your point about it still being popular today, we were just talking about 2015 Marvel Retro. Guess what they had as a special short printed insert? The EX. They had EX cards as
that's
the
really
inserts.
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So and we talked about I think I had a couple of football ones from 99 or 2000 that just it's not the same exact set but the same style. Very very cool cards. The acetate was so different than anything we had seen to that point. There are these different benchmarks in collecting where it's like chrome cards just seemed super innovative at the time, and then the acetate seems super innovative, and there's nothing like that now. Nothing like that happens nowadays. There's not anything super innovative anymore, and it all came out in 99 and and before, and people think that cards are cool now. Way cooler back then.
Definitely. All right, EP. Sadly, you only have one more trip.
Do you want me to go last? I can go last. I should probably go last.
Do you want to go last? Okay.
I should go.
Sounds
last.
like you want to go last.
Joe. That sounds good.
I should go last.
We can call an audible here. Yeah.
I'm gonna go last with mine.
Omaha.
So Omaha. Well, ironically, Omaha. So my honorable mention, because EP said we should throw out an honorable mention, would be 1998 Topps Chrome. And just because I didn't look up any of the prices, I didn't look up any of what the value is right now. If I'm getting a fourth bonus, you just have to pick quick. I'm going back and picking out a case of 98 Topps Chrome. The first set I really got into football cards. I was always a non-sports guy to that point. 98 Topps Chrome was the first one that really got me into football. And I remember submitting a Randy Moss to PSA back then. And probably when did we send our first order, Mike? In 2000, probably. And it came back a PSA 10. So it was my first ever PSA 10. So I would definitely rip a box of that. So for my actual trip, though, I mean, come on. You got to know what it is, right? I'm going to 2000.
I'm going to guess you're going back to 2000.
I'm going to 2000, baby. I think you'll be surprised at actually what I picked, though, because it's probably, in terms of Tom Brady rookie cards, it's probably my least favorite. But not because of the design, not because of the picture or anything. It's because I think it's overvalued. And that's, I'm buying a case of 2000 Bowman paper. Okay. So just some stats on this. Original cost estimate was about, Mike, you told me probably $70 to $75 a box, probably even less
70,
than that.
80, yeah.
But that shakes out to about $900 a case. The current value estimate is about $3,600 a box and about $43,000 a case. And that's, well, if you do the math, it's about $43,000 for the case if you bought 12 boxes. But I think a sealed case would be valued much more than the $43,000. You got 10 cards per pack, 24 packs per box, and you will get slightly less than a complete set if you subtract out the inserts, right? So I watched, when I was starting to collect Brady cards, I watched any box breaks I could of his rookie year, and I had not seen one, and I still have not seen one where someone did not get a Tom Brady rookie card out of a box. So that's the reason that I'm buying Bowman, right? So I'm gonna rip it. I'm not gonna hold it. This is another risk reward thing for me. Beyond the fact that it's like my boy Sean Alexander has a rookie in there, your boy Mike Jamal Lewis has a rookie in there. It would just be a fun. It was right in the heart of us starting to get really into fantasy football. So there's a lot of stuff. By the way, listening to people try and pronounce Tim Biakabatuka, fantastic. It's fantastic YouTube content right there. Or Brock Heward was a tough one, or Damon Heward, or whoever it was, Hewad, or whatever some idiot tried to pronounce it. So just to throw out some numbers. So the reason I don't like this card as a collector, there are 5,370 Bowman Brady's on the PSA Pop Report.
Wow.
There are 1,339 Upper Deck Star rookies, just to put in perspective, right? And kind of crazy, right? So the reason I opened it is you're getting 12 Brady's. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You'd have to be the most unlucky person in the world to not get 12 Brady's. And I looked at the Pop Report and I broke it down into, if you're pack pulling it, chances of you getting something below a 7, pack pulling it, sleeve top load, send it to PSA, odds of getting less than a 7 are pretty slim, I would say. So I just looked at the percentage of the ones that were graded 7 and above. So you should get, on average, 2 7s, 4 8s, 4 9s, and 2 10s. That should be your breakdown. Now I'm thinking if you open up that case, sleeve and top load as soon as it gets in, and send it to PSA in 2000 where they weren't pop control and Brady's, I think that 10 number would actually be higher. Personally, I think there are probably 9s that would be 10s. The PSA 10s are going for currently about $8,000 a piece.
Wow.
Such an overproduced card going for $8,000. Again, to put it in perspective, Upper Deck, which I would prefer to go back and open, but Upper Deck PSA 10s are only going for $5,000. So, and it's there's a lot of factors. He has no Topps card, so this is his de facto Topps card, right? And he's in his full Patriots uniform. It's not a sweatpants. It's not a Michigan. It's not a Senior Bowl. It's full Patriots. So I get the appeal. The reason I didn't open up Topps Chrome is you don't get as many cards in a box, so the odds of getting a Brady are slim, comparatively speaking. Bowman Chrome, I'm sorry. Yes. Can you imagine if you had Topps Chrome?
You'll be very disappointed.
I'd be broke. 9s go for about $2,200. 8s go for about 1,200, and 7s go for about 1,000. So you're getting about $32,000 or so worth of value in the Brady's. Again, as of the current pop reports, I really do think it's higher if you submit them as soon as you open them in 2000. So
Yeah,
you're losing
definitely.
money, but I think the reward is worth the risk of getting more 10s than you would get under this. And then to put it in perspective on terms of value, like why I picked the Bowman versus something else, it's all about the cost of the card, or the cost of the boxes at the time, but also the odds of getting the Brady's. So if you look
Mhm.
at something like SP Authentic sealed boxes right now are only going for about 5,000 to 5,500 a box, which is
Mhm.
only about 2,000 more than the Bowman, even though the
Yeah.
Brady's are worth much more, because the odds of getting a Brady, even if you rip a whole case, are kind of slim.
Yeah.
They're numbered to 1250. So why would I not go back, get a Brady that's highly overvalued, but still highly valued, and get guaranteed 12 of them? That was kind of how I was looking at it.
Good call. I agree.
Yep.
I mean, it is funny how that's kind of become the de facto it card for him, like the
Hmm.
the classic card, because we know collecting. I mean, Bowman Chrome, they were cool, but they were never the card. Topps
No.
Chrome obviously was, but he didn't have a card in that set. But yeah, like to see now, and I'm sure EP, a lot of that is with the baseball carryover, since
Hmm.
they've been producing baseball, you know all during this time period. They didn't stop doing like they did football. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's like, I think that's a great set to pick, because you are going to get a lot of them. Like, you
Hmm.
go through that stuff. I mean, I found one in my stuff, and I really didn't have a lot of the regular Bowman from that year for whatever
You may have
reason.
opened up
But
a
yeah,
box. You may have
yeah,
opened up
and
one
I
box
probably
and
did.
probably got
Yeah,
the
that's
Brady.
about what I had. So
Yeah.
yeah, good call on that one.
I agree that that's probably my favorite Brady rookie. I mean, the design of the Bowman and the Bowman Chrome from that year, just and on top of it being the Brady rookie, like just is a really cool card.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm getting to my last trip in the time machine. My honorable mention is, I have to have, I don't want to lose credibility with my wrestling peeps. So, my honorable mention, plus I didn't put this on my list because it's not really a box I could go back to get, but the 1983 Wrestling All Stars, the first series of that, with the Hulk Hogan card, Andre the Giant, all the others, obviously,
Ric
the
Flair.
best. Ric Flair. Sorry, forgot Ric Flair. But yeah, like, I mean, if you're talking about, if you want to call it a vintage wrestling card, that's really the main set. I mean, it has everybody you'd want to collect in it, and the values of them are incredibly high, especially if you can get them in high grades. They came, in a cellophane sealed set, I believe. So, like, I think Andre was on the top. I think that's why his card is so hard to get in a good grade too. But that's my honorable mention. But my last trip, I mean, it's not really hugely expensive, but I'm going to go back to 2014, and I'm going to buy a case of Topps Chrome WWE. Now, we all saw the Prizm hype. We all saw the kinds of money people are dropping for Prizm cards. I'm saying it here. I've said it before. I'll say it again. 2014 Topps Chrome is such a better set. It's a better investment to put your money in than anything that Panini is going to put out while they have the license. Yes, you can find a one-of-one card of Hulk Hogan or The Rock out of Panini, but I'm not talking about the, you could get this one card value. I'm talking about the overall value. Like, in 2014, just think about that. 2014, what was the popularity of wrestling cards? It was non-existent. The print run of that set has to be tiny. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like less than 25% or even lower of what Prizm is printed. And you have, it's not technically a rookie card, but like it's the first year they did the Topps Chrome set. You have Roman Reigns cards in it. You have, the gold cards in it, which are all going crazy. I know I tried to bid on a Paul Heyman gold card, and it jumped from $77 to like $270 in the last 10 seconds of the auction.
It's like
for Paul
bidding on
Heyman.
Brady cards, brother.
Yeah.
It's
So
like bidding on Brady cards.
The gold cards out of the set are on fire, and you just don't see it. I would love to rip it, but I'm not going to rip it. I'm going to leave it sealed, and I'm going to keep leaving it sealed. I looked on eBay. I think I only saw a couple listings that like over the last year of boxes that had actually sold. Like if you want to find a hobby box, there's one listed on eBay right now, and is listed for $3,000. The actual ones that were sold for around $1,000, but like I'm sure the price of it now is probably somewhere in between. But like the guy that has it for $3,000, if you want it, like they're hard to find. Like you don't see the hobby boxes because they didn't make a lot of them. So yeah, it's just, I think it's an incredible set. And I think when Topps gets the license back, when Fanatics takes over, that it's just going to be one of those things that continues to rise. They're going to bring Topps Chrome back. That's going to be the de facto #1 set. And these cards are going to be the ones everybody goes back to because it was the first set.
That's a good call on that one. And you've been preaching this for a while on hobby Twitter about, the Topps Chrome over Prizm debate and wrestling cards. I was kind of surprised you didn't go with, was it 02 that had the Cena rookie? Was that Cena and Lesnar's
Yeah, the Royal
rookie?
Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah. Who made that one? Was that Topps as well?
That's Fleer. Yeah.
Fleer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was kind of surprised you went there, but you've been a mark for the Topps Chrome, the Topps Chrome wrestling cards for a while now. So I'm not surprised, but and it looks better. Like beyond whether it's going to be more valuable, it just looks better than the Panini stuff, the Prizm stuff.
Yeah, by far.
Did that set have? We got two questions. Did that set have like the refractors, like all the oranges, blacks, all those? And
I think it just had gold. Yeah, it had autographs, and I think they just had the gold refractor and the regular refractors too.
Okay, but not red and black.
No, they weren't overloaded with like 20 different parallels. So that's part of the reason I believe the gold refractors are so popular. And this is what I try to preach about all the time too, is when you have more parallel sets, it makes each individual one worth less. Like you're gonna, over time, you're giving people more options of a numbering point where they want to buy a card. Like if you 20 years from now want to get a card of somebody from then, if they only have the parallel out of 50, that's what you have to buy. If they have a 50, a 25, a 75, a 99, a 10, you have a lot of different options, and there are a lot more parallel cards out there. Like people just assume that people will always want to collect the rainbow, and it's a popular thing, it's a fun thing. I do it, and but you like, I don't know that you can count on 10 years from now a new collector wanting to go back, wanting to collect all of them. You're going to want to just get the card of the guy you like, and you're going to find it in, whatever number is at the price point you want to pay. And, when you only have the one, you're going to have to pay whatever they're worth. So that's my rant on that.
Right. It's kind of funny, and I'll button it, with my point here is that, people make fun of cards from the 90s because, it's numbered to 5,000. Can you imagine that many? And it's like, yeah, do the math on all your snake skins and draft skins and your different numbered parallels. It's probably a lot closer than you want to admit. And you're right, Mike, that being out of 50 and that being the only one you can get beyond the normal refractor. That's why Topps Finest, I've been selling those gold refractors on eBay for ridiculous money for random players because that's the only one you can get. And people appreciate that. instead of all these different options they could get.
Yeah, it focuses the demand on one point, and that's, it's part of economics, but that's what people really don't want to look at. If you have 100 different parallels, you now have 100 different areas that somebody looking for a parallel of a player have to go to buy, where if you have one, that is the only one. So everybody who's looking for it can only buy that one, and that's what's going to increase value because demand is going to go up.
If in a couple months we're walking the floor, this is my second question. If in a couple months we're walking the floor of the National and you see one for $2,000, are you going to buy it?
Ooh. Oh, that's a lot of money.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, that's a yes, right? That's a yes, right?
And if he doesn't, we're going to make him feel like shit the entire rest of the trip. And on the ride back, we're like, I can't believe someone clearly bought that after you walked away. I mean, he's got to buy it.
Yeah, maybe. I would rather walk around and buy find the gold Paul Heyman out of it for $250 and buy that. If I see that at $250 or under,
as well as
I don't
just
know.
think of it this way: you trade that LeBron for and $500 or that box. Put your money where your mouth is, brother.
It's possible. I might. You never know. I would really rather go back in the time machine and buy them for they're probably what $80-$100 a box.
Yeah, $100 probably. Yeah.
All right, so we've been waiting the whole podcast. This better be a good one, EP. But
first off,
last trip in your
oh yeah, I mean this might be. I plan to break the thing, but okay. My honorable mentions are 1998 Topps Chrome basketball. Huge Vince Carter fan, and I'd love to have all those. I don't have him in Topps. I don't think I have any of the rookies from that year.
Yeah,
in Topps Chrome. So I'd love that. And then 2003 Topps Chrome for the LeBron year, all the rookies in that year too. Again, another good crop. I don't have any. I have zero
Big
2003 basketball cards.
Big theme of Topps Chrome in this pod. You can tell what product we want to get back here sooner than later. My second honorable mention would have been 04 Topps Chrome football with Rivers and Ben and Eli and Fitz. Yeah, for sure. Topps Chrome, fantastic.
Okay, drum roll. Here we go.
So listen, when I first heard this topic, I thought to myself, there's one product that came to mind immediately, and I have to ask you guys, how did we come across this time machine? If you don't mind me asking, did we build it ourselves? Did we buy it from somebody? Did we just find it?
We build it. Absolutely.
Okay, we build it. We put all these smart. We put so much money and time.
Yeah.
And we have scientists that are helping us. We're doing all this stuff. I'm gonna say, listen, let's put $100 million more dollars and a few more hours into it, and so we can crank this baby up. So we can go back. To 1957.
What the? Come on, that feels like it's breaking the rules.
Nope.
But...
I feel like he's breaking the rules.
Definitely breaking the rules. But listen, I'm going to take care of all of us. Okay, 1957. We're gonna talk about the greatest and worst baseball card story ever told. Mike, you might know this. Joe, I'm guessing maybe you don't. No. So 1952 baseball, 1952 Topps baseball is considered like that is the very first Topps product.
I know
it's the
where
first
we're
Mickey
going
Mantle.
here.
Yep, it's the first Mickey Mantle card. It's the first William Mays card. It's the first Hank Aaron. All the greats, Eddie Matthews rookie card. All these cards.
Are we going to end up having to rent a boat in this story?
We won't have. We're not doing a boat, bro.
Okay.
We don't even need to worry about it. But there is a boat involved in the story, which you know about. Yeah. So anyhow, they created these cards. This guy named Cy Berger was like 29 years old, 29, 30 years old, working for Topps, and designed these cards on his kitchen table. This story goes back to this is the story that came out in 2014 when he passed away at age 91. It's from Sports Collectors Daily, I think is what it's called. That's where I saw the story. So anyhow, but there's a couple places you can see it. But anyhow, so they create these cards. They're selling like hotcakes. They're selling they can't make enough of them. They make a series. They make a second series. They make a high number series. But by the high number series time, kids are going back to school and people stop caring about it. And they discover what returns are. So they got this warehouse full of 300 to 500 cases of 1952 Topps baseball cards just sitting there. I'm looking right at Joe because I think he's probably has never heard the story before.
No.
So when
you say returns, what just people just didn't want the cards anymore and they didn't want the
boxes
back to
dealers and stores and stuff sent the boxes and cases back to Topps.
Okay.
So Topps has this warehouse full of 300 to 500 cases of 1952 Topps baseball, literally the holy grail of baseball for us. And so this set's a 407 card set at the time. It was the biggest set that they had. Cards sold for 5 cards for a nickel. A pack cost 5 cents, right?
Wow.
So it set the tone for, this is the first set that ever put like bios and stats and stuff on the back of cards. So like 7-8 years after they have all these returns, the Cy Berger goes to like carnivals and festivals. He's trying to sell these cards for like a penny for 10 boxes, a penny for like a case. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares. At the time, it's consumer product. People care about, well, this isn't 1958 Topps. This is 1952 Topps. Who cares about this? So what happens is he gets his buddy who happens to own a boat, a tugboat, and they rent a garbage barge. They go out into there's two different, the Hudson and the ocean, and they dump like 500 cases. And this is part of the reason why the Mickey Mantle card is so coveted. It's why it's so rare, is because they dump these cases. So listen, I got this cash here. I got like a 1934 $10 bill. I got a bunch of bills from like 1930s and 40s. I got some Liberty Walking silver pieces. I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to dress in my best suit. I'm going to walk up to Cy Berger in 1957 and say, yo, bro, you got any of that 1952 Topps? And I'm going to bring back 500 cases of 1952 Topps for us. Now, to give you an idea, this was, I didn't write down what year this was, but there was a point somewhere between 2014 and 2020, or maybe it was even 2012, where somebody had found a case and opened it, and with deals to other people, and the guy who opened it kept the empty box. And then in like 2012 or something like that, that empty box, so the case box, the case that says 12 boxes, 24 packs, or whatever it was, that sold for $50,000, the empty cardboard box in like 2012.
Wow.
So could you imagine? So if we get 500 cases of that, we're paying for the time machine. We're paying to build a new time machine that can take us forward and backward, I think.
We don't even need a time machine for any of the other stuff. We could just buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, since I wanted to go last because I would probably break the time machine, end up getting stuck in 1952 and never come back. So
that'd be great. Now,
you're going to be stuck in the 1950s.
My one question is, though, is this like the butterfly effect thing, though, that if you go back and you save all those cases, or is like Mantle going to be worthless?
Well, like the story will be, okay, well, how about if I get 300 of the 500 cases? So they still dump 200 of them.
So they still have the story about dumping. Yeah.
Right. Except for this mysterious man who bought 300 cases, decided to buy 300 cases and then disappeared.
I think you can probably just buy 2. I think as valuable as it is, you could probably just buy like, I know, but I mean, keep the story interesting.
Wow. Well, funny. We're not going to top that one. So we better take the sledgehammer to the time machine and do away with that one. But
us with our measly Wayne Gretzky and Tom Brady rookies. He's so going boring. Back to 57.
Listen, as soon as we came up with that topic, that was the one that I wanted to do. I was like, oh my God, I got to talk about the 1952 Topps set. Like, that is definitely the one I'm going to go get. And then you guys were like, oh, we're going to go back so far. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I won't do it.
Well, EP plays by his own rules. We know that by now. Oh, okay, boys. Well, I feel like that was a great episode. And, we'll meet again next week and we'll talk about some more stuff.
Sounds good.
See ya.
All right. Take care, guys.
Adios.